Hello, it's Mr. Garvey. We are starting Chapter 3. Chapter 3 is all about integers. You may have heard about integers before, but we're going to be learning how to add and subtract and divide and multiply negative numbers. It's the main thing we're going to be learning in this chapter. So for this section, we're going to be learning about integers and absolute value. So I'm going to start with some vocabulary. So the first word is integer. So what is an integer? So an integer is any number from the set, and you see there it says -3, -2, -1, 0, 1, 2, 3, and those 3 dots means that continues forever. So you can see the pattern there, and all of the numbers, they're not fractions, they're whole numbers, but they can also be negative. They can be negative, positive, and also 0. So an integer is like a whole number, except you can have negatives as well. An integer cannot be a fraction, there cannot be a decimal. So positive integers, that might be obvious to you by now. Positive integers is just an integer that's positive. Okay? So if you look above, out of those 7 numbers, which ones are positive? 1's positive, 2's positive, 3's positive. 0, that doesn't count as positive. Okay? What else could we put? Another example. You could put 1,200,384. That's a positive integer. Okay? And you see those dots, that means this goes on forever. So it goes all the way up to infinity, actually. And so a negative integer, an example, -1, -2, -3, -217,938. That's a negative integer. Okay, and that goes to negative infinity. You'll see that dot, dot, dot. So they don't have fractions. There's no decimals. So that's what an integer is. So the absolute value is the distance between a number and 0 on a number line. So you can see the number line I made below, and we have on the right side of 0 positive numbers, and they're in blue, and on the left side negative numbers that are in red. So my question is, what is the absolute value of 5? What's the distance between 5 and 0? The distance is 5, okay? So what's the absolute value of -5? We have -5 right here. So what's the distance between -5 and 0 on a number line? Well, the distance is also 5. So we'll see that the absolute value of -5 is 5, and the absolute value of 5 is 5. So we'll talk more about absolute value tomorrow, and that is it for the vocabulary for this section. A positive integer, what did I... No.